How you doing? This is Sam Tolley. And if you're anything like me, you've been puzzled by this plethora of genders that we seem to have going on these days. I mean, as we approach the end of 2019, our world seems to be more confused than ever. And as a Christian, it is very troubling how to navigate through this new mindset that's going on. So I decided to do a little research. I Googled asking, how many genders are there? And Google's answer that popped up, it's strange. It says 2. But then it goes on and says there are more than 2 genders. Even though in our society, the genders that are most recognized are male and female, called the gender binary, and usually is based on someone's anatomy, the genitals they are born with. Well, there was a time where 2 genders was not even something that needed to be discussed. But now, we have to discuss these things because it's just way out of whack. And for the church to ignore it is at the church's own detriment. So I decided to look a little further. And I was asking, how many genders does Facebook show? Well, Google said there's 63 genders. And Facebook gives us 58 gender options. And that's strange. And then I got below that. It says, why does Facebook have 71 gender options? So now it's just way confusing. We got 63, we got 2, we got 58, we got 71. And if that wasn't bad enough, I went on Tumblr. And as of the last count, Tumblr had 262 different genders. I mean, this is out there. This is just completely nuts. But we have to take this stuff seriously because we're in a situation now where, like in New York City, if businesses misidentify a person, if the person tells them what their gender is, they could be sued for $250,000. Or have a $250,000 fine. This is insanity. And in California, they're talking about some medical services where if a person identifies himself, say a man says he's a woman, and these medical professionals refuse to call this person by their preferred title, then they can get in trouble. It's nuts. And then there's all kinds of different genders. Names. Stuff that I've never even heard of. Intergender. Someone whose gender is somewhere between male and female. Whatever that means. Then we got designated gender. A gender assigned at birth based on an individual's sex and or what gender society perceives a person to be. Here's an interesting name. AFAB, assigned female at birth. Duh. Or, let's try Marverick, or Marverique. It's MAVERIQUE, a non-binary gender that exists outside of the orthodox social bounds of gender. Well, look, I'm not going to sit up here and try to name all 58 Facebook genders or all 262 Tumblr genders. This is nuts. And I don't even know how anyone can keep up with this stuff. But what is the idea behind all these genders? What is the idea behind this mess? So I think I got a capsulation of the idea off of Planned Parenthood's website. Look what it says. Sex is a label, male or female, that you're assigned by a doctor at birth based on the genitals you're born with and the chromosomes you have. It goes on your birth certificate. Okay, that's, simple enough. Gender is much more complex. It's a social and legal status and set of expectations from society about behaviors, characteristics, and thoughts. Each culture has standards about the way that people should behave based on their gender. This is also generally male or female. But instead of being about body parts, it's more about how you're expected to act because of your sex. And this last paragraph is real interesting. Gender identity is how you feel inside and how you express your gender through clothing, behavior, and personal appearances. It's a feeling that begins very early in life. So based on this description, my gender, or your gender, is whatever we feel it's like. Now, these people that came up with all these different gender identifications took it upon themselves to come up with what they describe a person like myself is, or my gender would be, and they call it cisgender. And it says here, cisgender, denoting or relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender corresponds with their birth sex. It goes on to say, cisgender is a term for people whose gender identity matches the sex that they were assigned at birth. For example, someone who identifies as a woman and was assigned female at birth is a cisgender woman. The term cisgender is the opposite of the word transgender. Look, so according to this, people like me are cisgender. But as a Christian, what does the Bible say? That's the only thing that's important. And in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27, it states, "Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, that they will rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the livestock, and all the earth, and the creatures that crawl on the earth." So God created man in his own image. He created him in the image of God. He created them, male and female. Well, this description from the Bible conflicts with the New World mantra of all these different genders. What is a Christian to do? How are we to deal with that in light of this New World mindset? The Bible also gives us more information to work with. Let's look at Matthew chapter 10, verse 16, where Jesus said, "Behold, I am sending you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be wise as serpents and innocent as doves." Well, there's no doubt we got a whole lot of wolves out there now. We got a whole lot of crazy folks out there now. We got a whole lot of mess out there that's coming against the body of Christ. So I have a suggestion for people like me, which is in conformity to this plethora of genders. I reject the notion that I am a cisgender male. That is not my identity. If Facebook can have 58 genders, Google can have 63 genders, Tumblr can have 262 and counting, they can all add one more. And mine is old gender or original gender. You can take your pick, old gender or original gender. And as an old gender male, not only do I identify with my birth sex, I am incapable of identifying with anyone that is not with their birth sex. That means that if I see a man dressed like a woman that says he's trans or he's whatever these weird names are, I don't care. I am incapable of seeing other than a man in him. And if I see a woman that thinks that she is half woman and half man or half bird or whatever, I don't care. As an old gender male, all I can see is a woman. And I have identified as an old gender male for 67 years, all of my life. This is how I feel. Nothing can change that. So if I am to look at other people's assigned or accepted or embraced genders, except mine, I'm an old gender, original gender. And that's how I feel. That's what I have been. And I have more proof and substantiation for being an old gender than these folks with all these new weird ones. So, when people start asking you what kind of person you are, and if you're not a cisgender male or female, tell them you're an old gender, original gender. And as an original gender, when you see anyone else, all you can see is two different genders, an old gender male and an old gender female. Anything else, you're incapable of seeing. Just like these folks say they're incapable of being a man, but they're stuck in a woman's body. Or being a woman that's stuck in a man's body. And that no one should hold it against them. Well, don't hold against me being an old gender male. Because that's what I am. Original gender. This is Sam Tolley, and I'm out.